What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we're here to talk about one of the craziest characters to arrive in One Piece Treasure Cruise, and not really for like the fact that he does something amazing. It's the fact that what they've done, like the design choices that they made for this character, is nothing like what we've seen before. And it's due to the fact that the in-game information for this character is god-awful and doesn't tell you anything about what this character actually does. So in this video, we're going to run it down, break it down, and we're going to convey all the info to you guys so you know exactly what this character does if you end up pulling him in the latest Sugo Fest, or if you get him in the future, because he does so many different little things that you may want to keep note of, because he may be useful in a lot of content moving forward. So let's actually have a look at what this character does. Now, this is the special that is listed in-game. Applies various effects depending on the character's support character type, the captain's type, his current slot, and depending on the amount of HP that you have when you launch the special. That's all it tells you. Now, when you actually dive deeper into what this character does, I mean, this does not do it justice. He does a lot more than what is just listed here, right? So shout out to Solaris, who is the database manager. He does all the database related stuff, and shout out to everyone in the community, especially on the subreddit Discord, who were doing lots of trial and error testing to see exactly what this character did. And it is crazy, like the amount of effort that people had to go through to actually get this information when they really should have, conveyed it to us in game, Either way. Let's go over to the database, because the database now has all the information for us. He's a quick driven slasher. Captain ability doesn't really matter that much. It does give a chance of giving a dupe drop, which is okay. But the sailor ability is actually really good, resisting 2 turns of special reverse. This particular crewmate ability is very key. Now, he also reduces 6 turns of special bind on himself. Unfortunately, he doesn't have an ability in his special that removes special bind, but it's nice that he has it anyway, I suppose. But still, being able to resist the special reverse is the key thing here. So now, let's actually have a look at what the special does. So there are different things that occur depending on the captain's type. Now, all of these different categories will be checked simultaneously, so he can do a lot of different things at once. So depending on the color of the captain. Now, for example, if you had a dual unit, like let's say Nami and Karina, one is a strength unit, one is a quick unit. It's whichever character is active at the time. So if you have Nami active, it is a strength character. If you have Karina active, it is a quick character. But of course, you've got characters that can change their typing, like Bon Clay, who could actually manipulate it and be such a way where you could be any of these different colors to abuse it in that manner. So if you got a strength or a dex captain, he does 80 times his attack and quick damage to all enemies at the end of the turn for 3 turns. So end of turn damage that lasts for 3 turns is nice, so you can use it on a stage prior, carry it into a new stage, or just the fact that it does end of turn damage in general just means when you launch it, if you got a dex or a strength captain, you get end of turn damage. That is nice. If you have a quick captain, which is predominantly what is going to be occurring in the treasure map, -2 cooldown to all your character specials, and the fact that he resists the 2 turns of special reverse, if you have a quick captain, he can help you get around that. So that is really big. And then if you have a Psi or an Int captain, he reduces your super switch gauge and your versus gauge by 2 turns. Very unique ability. Not too many characters have been able to do that, so it's pretty cool. The fact that you can just use this special to reduce the super swap gauge in particular is the big one. Versus effects aren't really seen that much, but reducing super switch gauge is really cool. So all of these things can occur. So just depending on the captain, you get one of those effects. Next is what kind of slot he has, which can also extend to a lot of different things. So if he has just a generic strength, dex, quick sight, or int slot, he reduces enemies' corresponding type resistance by -20% for a turn. So that's really cool. You just get strength resistance down or psi resistance down. Just whatever slot is on raise max, you get that color's resistance down on the opponent. If you have a recovery or a tandem slot, locks slots for 1 turn and adds 1.1 to the chain for 1 turn. So that's really cool. The fact that you can use him as an orb locker as well. Nice. And then if you have a G or a rainbow slot, which is probably not going to be super often, but it reduces all enemies' resistance for all colors by -20% for 1 turn. So in this upcoming treasure map, if you're using Nami and Karina and you use their switch effect to generate a G slot on raise max, when you use the effect, this ability will allow you to get that resistance down to all enemies. However, there is an additional effect that is unfortunately not listed here. This is actually my team that I am planning on using against this treasure map on the test island. I was having a look. You can see that the resistance down for all types is currently activated here. But another effect that isn't stated is the fact that it puts all of your slots into the slot change impossible. So that's really cool too. The fact that you can use it to lock the slots or whatever slots that you have, and you can keep them throughout the entire duration of your quest, so long as you don't tap great. So if you keep hitting your perfects, you just keep, generating these slots continuously. Of course, if the opponent has an ability that removes your beneficial effects, I believe it actually does remove this ability, but it's still really cool, because if you are about to move into a stage and the opponent gives you really bad slots, like what occurs on this treasure map, if you move into the final stage, your top and bottom row slots are changed into super block, but when you have the slot change impossible on these G slots, the opponent cannot change them. So it's a really cool mechanic. It is not listed, but it is a part of this effect. If you have a G or a rainbow slot, and then if you have similar block or super block, 2 times increased damage taken to the opponent for 3 turns. That's also a really neat effect. Of course, doesn't go through immunity or anything, but still, really neat effect. Now, unfortunately, like, Wano slots are not listed here, so if you have a Wano slot on him, he actually doesn't do anything. Like, that doesn't really change anything. But, again, as I said, if you have, like, a strength captain and you have a tandem slot on him, he activates both these abilities simultaneously, which is the really cool thing. Moving on, we've got the amount of HP that you have when you launch the special. So if you have really high HP, you get a damage reduction effect. If you're 80 to 50%, you get a 20,000 heal. If you're 50 to 10%, you get 100% damage reduction for 1 turn. You get nullify damage for 1 turn. That is very unique. Not too many characters can apply damage nullification, and sometimes characters that have damage nullification only allow like 1 type or a couple of types to be reduced. But this is just straight up, no, negate all damage for 1 turn. And if you're below 10%, you get a full HP heal. So that's cool. He can do all of these simultaneously. And again, if you have like an 80% damage reduction, you could use that for like a % damage reduction based attack boost. Now, there aren't too many characters that could do that, but it's something to note in the future, right? Something to note. Let's move on. So you have the support character that is attached to Raise Max. So this is crazy that you actually have to think about the support that you attach to him, not just for stats alone, but for the additional effect. So you get a strength character attached to him. You get a 2 times attack boost for 3 turns. That's really cool. And obviously you can use it to avoid interrupts. There is an interrupt on one of the bosses that says you're not allowed to attack boost on the final stage, which is where he comes into play. I believe I did it here as well. Yeah, I used the Raise Max special and I get the 2 times attack boost for 3 turns. So it's cool that he does that. If you have a Dex character attached to him, you get a 2.25 boost for 2 turns. If it's a quick character attached to him, then you get a 2.5 attack boost for 1 turn. If you got a psych character attached, increases the boost effects of attack up by plus 0.3. So that's pretty cool. So whatever attack boost you have, you can buff it by 0.3. And if you got an int character attached to him, he will go ahead and buff any attack boost that's on your team. He buffs it to 2.5 times. Again, pretty freaking cool. And if you have no attached support, he gives a 2.25 orb boost for 2 turns. So there's just lots of different things he can do here. It mentions here as well that there is nothing stated for empty bomb or Wano slots. So these are the only like slot related abilities that are in his special. But each different category here of HP, support character, his slot, the captain's type, all of these can activate simultaneously, which means you could tailor your team to make his special absolutely perfect for that one particular occasion. So I think that this has a lot to go through. Like, I think a lot of people are going to do really weird discoveries to make him work in certain teams, and teams that weren't able to do things previously may be able to do it now because of how absurd this character actually is. So I really wanted to make this video to kind of run it down for you guys. Of course, all of this information is going to be on the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit Discord. It's going to be obviously in the database. I'll leave a link to the database in the description. Make sure you go ahead and check it out. If you guys need any info about what this character does, it is all here. So just wanted to give you guys a bit of info about it because he's such a fascinating rare recruit, and I think that he's actually going to see a decent amount of play in the future. Well, the thing is you have to build teams for it, but the thing is you could tailor your teams to combat certain things and ensure that if you have a certain slot on him, you can get certain buffs, and certain supports will allow you to get certain things to occur. Like being able to just change any attack boost to become a 2.5 attack boost is going to be really cool. If you have like some random support that can give a really low attack boost, buff it up to 2.5, deal with special reverse at the same time, like you can do some crazy stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.